Welcome to Mr. V Teaching Math. In this session, we're looking at how to calculate the area of triangles. The formula works like this. You're going to take the base of the triangle times the altitude and divide it by 2. Now, why divide it by 2, you might ask? Well, if I take the triangle and do this, you'll note that this is the shape of a rectangle in which you take the length and the width to calculate its area. But this is half of this rectangle. So it's actually the same formula divided by 2. That's where the formula comes from. It also works with ones shaped like this. Here's what the formula that I would like you to use was going to look like. Area equals base times altitude divided by 2. Keep in mind, where's the altitude? Well, if I hold it this way, this can be the base. This will be the altitude from the bottom to the top. Mind you, if I turn it this way, this is now the base, and that's the altitude. And if I were to turn it this way, and I drew a line here, there's my base, and there's my altitude. You can actually do it from any one of those directions, depending on the information they've given you. When you have a shape like this, you're going to either draw or add, or perhaps it will already exist, a dotted line to indicate the altitude from the base going up. Now there is a problem with this formula. This is my preferred formula that I would like to see most of you using. However, this formula is often written in a number of different ways. It is sometimes written like this. Area equals 1/2 of base times altitude. That's the same thing. Now there's one thing I really don't like, but that some textbooks in some places do use. Instead of calling this altitude, they call it height. And then you take the same formulas, base times height divided by 2. Or area equals 1/2 base times height. Will these get you the same answer if you call that height instead of altitude? Yes, it will. The problem is that later on, this will be a problem when we get to volume. And we'll learn about that later. This is the preferred formula that I like to see used. Any one of these would work. I need to teach them because you may run into them later on in your career as a student. So let's take an example of how to solve these questions. We'll call this 3 centimeters and we'll call this 6 centimeters. I take the formula. Capital A for area, base times height divided by 2. The base in this case is 6 centimeters. The height is 3 centimeters. And that is divided by 2. 6 times 3 is 18 divided by 2. This will give me 9 centimeters squared. And that is how to calculate the area of a triangle.